Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sheep Get Sheared podcast. I'm your host, Austin Creed, and my friends, I decided instead of using my phone to just record audio, I figured, hey, you know what? Why not record some video? First, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. If you're listening or watching to me on Thanksgiving, it probably means that you're sick of your family already. You're done talking to your either really liberal or really conservative in-laws or family members, and you just need a break from watching football. You need some levity. You want something a little more different, in plain English. So this topic is built off of our last discussion about why the women run the church. And underneath that video was a comment by Joey Aragon. Shout out to him. He had a really good follow-up to that discussion, and he requested this. And I thought to myself, why did I not touch on that in the moment yesterday? And the reason I didn't was because there's so many different facets to talking about how women run the church. Now, again, I want to preface this with, I'm not here to rage bait you. It is what it is. I'm not telling you this in a, gentlemen, let's unite and let's change all this. You're not going to do that. I'm sorry. You just won't. It's been like this for a very long time. And the reason that we see it so much now is because back in the day in the Catholic Church, pastors and priests couldn't get married. You think that they did that just because? No, there was a direct reason they did this. They did this to avoid what Joey Aragon, shout out to him, talked about in his comment underneath the last video. And that is this. Women run the church through men as their proxies, especially when they're elders and pastors, especially senior leadership in the church, number 3. Now, let me explain this to you. And gents, I know this is going to be upset. I know this is going to upset you. I know you're going to want to do something about this. But at the end of the day, there's no beating this. There's no beating women running your life if you are a married man. It's unavoidable. It might not be that way for the first 5 years. Might not be that way for the first 10 years. But at the end of the day, monogamy benefits two groups of people. One is weak men. Yes, you heard me right. Weak men, meaning men who need monogamy to get women. People who are handsome, people who have money, people who are ambitious, they don't need monogamy. They just don't. They don't benefit from monogamy. If anything, they understand that from an economical standpoint, monogamy doesn't benefit them in the same way that a company having a monopoly over the market doesn't benefit them. Because there is a direct equivalency there. A direct equivalency between a market being monopolized and your relationship, now your sex life being being completely monopolized by this woman that you've chosen to spend your life with. Now, I realize that's not romantic. I realize that's not something you want to hear, but tell me I'm wrong if I'm genuinely wrong. Now, let's apply that to the church, because we were talking about the church yesterday, we're talking about it right now. Gentlemen, if you go to church, or if you don't, I challenge you to go to a church, whether it's nearby or 30 minutes away, I don't care. Look at the man who preaches from the pulpit, and then look at his wife. His wife runs his house, and let me explain to you why. It's not because he's a weak man necessarily, not because he's a gump, not because he's a simp. He could be those things, but it's not inherently the issue. The issue is he has given that woman control over the thing between his legs right down there. That is now under her control. Now, I realize that makes you feel like less of a man, but I'm here to tell you that is the truth. She controls him. Because women know that they get what they want from men leveraging their sexuality. They know this. Why do you think women go when they're 16, 18 from saying, oh, I'm going to meet up with this pookie guy, or maybe this guy who's kind of trying to build himself, maybe he's cute, whatever, to all of a sudden, hey, honey, go take out the trash. Hey, honey, why don't you go take the kids out to the park? Hey, honey, why don't you mow the lawn? Hey, honey, let's go to the farmer's market. Hey, let's go to Whole Foods. Hey, let's go to this festival that's in town. And then at the end of the day, she's like, hey, if you play your cards right, you might get lucky. You ever heard that phrase, get lucky? She knows that if she just wakes up on a Saturday and lets you, get your nut, And then afterwards, all you're going to want to do is sit up there and watch college football. She knows that. She knows all you're going to want to do. Here, watch. Let me show you. All you want to do is look right there and watch some college football. That's what you're going to want to do. She knows this. So instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to just give it to him right away, she knows that if she leverages it against you, that you are going to have to do what she wants to then get what you want. You can argue, hey, Austin, this is disgusting. She shouldn't do this. I don't care about what she should do. I care about what she's going to do. That's what we're talking about. We don't do the shoulda, woulda, coulda over here. That is garbage. We don't do it. It's a waste of your time and my time, and we're not doing that. It's stupid to argue that. You can't argue with the fact that that is what's happening. And I realize I'm filming in vertical. I'm trying an experiment, by the way, in case you're like, oh, he's filming in vertical. I know, I'm trying an experiment. I've been reading that it kind of like frames as like a short, but it's not. I don't know. What I'm telling you is this. At the end of the day, a lot of women run the church through the men who are in charge of the church, because if the men don't do what they're supposed to do or teach what they're supposed to in their minds, they know they're not getting lucky that night. And they know they can't just walk out and have sex with someone on Harry Hines or on Figueroa. They can't do that, because if they do that, then their livelihood is over. Their reputation is cooked. They're done. They can't do that. So now they're shackled to this woman who now controls their sexuality. You ever wonder why a lot of men look very subservient? Whether they be the gospel, the music pastor, the youth pastor, head pastor. These are all men who have bought into the system, and they try to make you buy into the system. And because of that, now they have to practice what they preach, or their whole racket is over. Even if they believe it. They can't just say, you know what? I'm not going to give this woman this leverage over me. I'm not going to let her decide when I'm going to have an orgasm, when I want to get some sexual release. I'm not going to let her do that to me. Guess what? What are you going to do? What are you going to go on OnlyFans? What are you going to go? You can't beat this. This is why I'm warning men. I'm not saying that marriage is evil. What I'm telling you is this is what married people should be telling you. But they won't do it, so I'll do it. They won't do it, so I will. As a single man, I will tell you this. Married men won't do it because they're afraid that women are going to gaslight you into thinking that, oh, that's not true, Austin. No, Austin, that's just those women. I don't do that. Oh, really? Okay. Whatever. I don't believe you, but go ahead. Please continue with your bullshit. I'd love to hear it, because we all know that's what it is. Gents, I tell you this not to say that women are evil. I tell you this because you need to know how the game works. The game is a little different when you get into the religious aspects, because everybody to an extent is playing a role. Everybody to an extent is playing a game. They're trying to play another matrix. It's another level of the matrix. This is the issue. They're playing a whole other level of the matrix. And a lot of people, they can't keep up until it's too late. They don't realize that what I'm telling you is true until it's too late. Why do you think men are so into sports and all these things? It's a distraction. It's a distraction, at least in my opinion. They could genuinely like it as well. But in my opinion, it's a distraction. How many of you have been in a relationship where you're sitting on your couch, or you're sitting in your gaming chair, or whatever, and the minute that console turns on, beep, the minute that TV turns on and the announcer starts talking, suddenly your girlfriend, your wife, whatever, is suddenly, hey, honey, can you come and do this? Hey, honey, can you come here? Hey, I need your help with this. All of a sudden, you could be sitting there staring at the wall like this. Nothing. Now, all of a sudden, you want to enjoy yourself? She's like, oh, nope. Can't enjoy yourself. No, you got to go do this. No, you got to go do that. Again, I'm not telling you this is women are evil. This is just how they work. I'm not trying to get you to hate anybody. I'm trying to tell you this is what you are going to face in this world. This is what you're going to face in this relationship marketplace. You might say, Austin, how do you know this? I've been in relationships. I just got out of a relationship. When I was in a relationship, for over a year, which I realize is short term for you married guys. I get that. But I don't need to be married for 10 years to know a lot of the things that I know. I really don't. Now, we could also get into the race conversation. When I say the race conversation, you need to realize that the culture you're around, like the black church is different than the white church, different than the Hispanic church, different than the Asian church. All these things are different. There's different. How do I put this into ways that you might get? I don't know how many of you play games like RPG games like Elden Ring and Skyrim and stuff like this, but different dungeons have different mobs that you face and different adversaries you have to overcome. And when it comes to your demographic, for example, you can look at me, I'm a white man, okay? So when it comes to me, I talk from the white church perspective. There are tons of black men who talk about their experience in the black church. I've been in black churches, and a lot of times it's the single mothers that run the church. The mammies that they call them. The mammies run the church. And again, I am not teaching you so you hate women. Hating women's a waste of time. Serious waste. If you're a red pill rage guy, please leave. This is not for you. You need to come back in about 10 months to a year after you've got it out of your system. We are men on this channel. We want to succeed. We want to grow as people. We want to win. So the reason why I don't really believe I don't fully believe that monogamy works for everybody. I think it works for some people, but I don't think it's as default as people would have you believe. In fact, if you want to go with the religious texts, you look at Islam, you look at Christianity, you look at Judaism, you look at Zoroastrianism, you look at a lot of these religions, a lot of them are okay with polygamy. Now, they were back in the day. Now they can't because obviously it's illegal in the United States and in a lot of other Western countries unless you're a Muslim, which you kind of get a pass. But you need to understand that there was a reason why these things existed in the past. And it's not for the reason you think. For example, let's go back to this pastor example. Let's say the pastor had a couple of wives. I'm not saying he should. I'm saying let's take a hypothetical. Let's say the pastor is like the Muslim man where he can have 3 wives. Okay? Let's say wife number 1 is not going to give him any vagina because he's not going to give him any coochie because he didn't do what she wanted. Guess what? Wife number 2 will do it. Awesome. So now he doesn't have to worry about that anymore. Now, all of a sudden, he doesn't have to say, hey, honey, can you come and help me with the dishes? Or, hey, can you do this and can you do that? The burden's not on her to fulfill every single one of his desires, every single one of his expectations. Gentlemen, as much as you hate to admit this, you can't do that for your woman either. I know you don't want to hear that because our male ego says, she's mine. I'm the only one that hits it right. I'm the only one who makes her happy. I'm the only one that does this and does that, and that's why she loves me. Love is oftentimes used as a way to disarm you. They know how post-nut clarity works. Women do. They figure it out in their early 20s, late teens. They figure this out. They realize that once you change up on them like that, they learn how to change up on you. This is how the game works. And hating it, being upset by it, changes nothing. Doesn't change anything. You have to embrace this to move forward. You have to understand that your life needs to adapt to what the reality of life is. Because if it doesn't, you are now stuck in a rut. You are now stuck in this rage. I hate life. I hate the world. I hate the U.S. I hate all these things, and I don't know what to do with it, so I'm just going to be mad. Being mad changes nothing. Now, if you use that to change your life, you make more money, you work on yourself, you do all these things, that's great. But most people, they don't. They just kind of stew there in like a rage. And it makes them very unappealing to most people to do business, have romance, all these things. They don't like it. And I don't blame them. I was once in that state. Oh yeah, if you look at some of my earlier videos on this channel, I was very much in Red Bull rage. Absolutely. I started this when I was in college a couple years ago. I'm not like that anymore. I've grown as a person. That's why we're in season 2. Season 2, we don't care about your feelings. We don't care about how the pastors, the religious zealot crusaders, we don't care what they have to say. With their, oh, well, Austin, you should be doing this, and you should be talking about ecclesiastical marriages. No, I shouldn't. No, I'm not going to do it. And the reason I'm not going to do it, I am not going to tell men to do something I wouldn't do. I'm not going to sit here and give you a prescription that I'm not following. Like that guy, Andrew Wilson. I'm not going to be like that. I'm not going to be the guy who tells you to do this. Meanwhile, I've done everything the opposite my whole life. I won't do that. I'm not telling you can't get married if you want to be. The whole biblical bachelor lifestyle that I created about a year or so ago is to understand what you're getting into, to then decide if you want to even remain a bachelor in the church or you want to get married. At the end of the day, it gives you the freedom to do what you want as long as you know what you're facing. It's hard to go into battle when you don't know who you're fighting. Hard to prepare when you don't know who you're fighting. In the same way that you wouldn't walk into a boss fight in a video game not knowing who you're battling, what are they resistant to, what are they weak to, or any of these things, that would be stupid. You could still maybe win, but it's going to be very unlikely that you're going to win. In the same way that you can't approach life and say, I'm going to win in life, I'm going to make all this money, I'm going to help all these people, I'm going to do all these things, if you don't even know who you are and what you want. Knowing what you don't want is not enough. Knowing what you want is just not enough. You have to sit there and you have to improve yourself and you have to know what you're facing. Because if you don't, you risk not doing what you're supposed to do or getting what you want out of life and being a bum for the rest of your life or unhappy. I understand if you've been through a hard relationship and it's made you a little, resistant to the idea of being in a healthy, following the prescription that people give you. I get all that. I totally get that. More than you might know. But understand that the only person who can save you is you. The only person who can decide what you want for your life is you. You can't let a pastor do that for you. You can't let your parents, you can't let women, you can't let people on the internet, you can't let people do that for you. Otherwise, you risk not getting what you want because it's not about what you think is best. It's about what they think is best. My friends, I got to go right now. I'm going to go spend some time with my family on this Thanksgiving, but I'm going to let you know that as this year comes to a close, you need to decide for yourself what you're going to be doing with this next year. Are you going to keep doing what you're doing to get what you've gotten this year? Or are you going to decide, you know what, I'm going to level up as a man. I'm going to increase my knowledge. I'm going to embrace uncomfortable realities so that I can move forward and I can maybe achieve something that I've been wanting to achieve. You have to sacrifice to succeed. You can't have it all at the same time. Not possible. I learned that lesson the hard way. My friends, I look forward to hearing what you have to say, because these pastors who are letting their women run their lives and they're basically mouthpieces for their women, especially senior pastors, huge. And if you don't see it, go to church and you will see it. You will see what they were like. Or maybe they have old recordings of themselves. You'll see the difference between these men. And that's why the women run the church, because the women are the ones who teach the men what to do by using the carrot and the stick approach with these men, which if you did it to a woman would be considered abuse. But because they're doing it to you and they have nice flowery language and they talk like this and they gaslight the hell out of you to think it's fine, they get away with it. And hating them for it will change nothing. All they're going to do is gaslight and wind up their toy soldiers, meaning the men in that church, to tell you that you're wrong or that you're a misogynist or anything else. That's how it works. It's part of the game. My friends, let me know what you think, because I think at the end of the day, we've all seen this, or if you haven't, please go see it for yourself. You can look on the internet too if you don't want to go anywhere. Look on the internet. You'll see what I'm talking about. Look at the guys who are traditional conservatives on the internet too. They do the same thing. If you want an example of a guy who had this full circle moment, one of my favorite more political commentators is Steven Crowder. I like him overall. I don't agree with everything he says, but in general, I think what he says is pretty accurate. He had this happen to him. He was married. He used to think red pill guys were just a bunch of red pill rangers, which were true to an extent. But then when he got divorced, he saw it. He saw what we're talking about. The lie, the fantasy that we're sold. He saw it. You have to decide for yourself. Are you going to see it, or are you going to let other people gaslight you away from it? That's your choice. And the only one who can make that choice is you. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, my friends. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. And let me know, do you like the video more? You want me to go horizontal, vertical, whatever let me know what you think. Till then, I'm out of here. Take care of yourselves. Peace.